Hey, what's poppin', everybody? Let's get into the video today. I missed yesterday. I know said I made a community post and I posted yesterday's slip even though I missed it yesterday. Something came up super last minute and I wasn't able to get the time to put up a video. Found the time today, so let's get into it. All right, so today's pick of the day is going to be coming from the Toronto game. Give me their pitcher. I'm going to butcher his name, so I'm just going to try to say his last name, Kikchu. Yesu Kikchu, the Toronto pitcher. I know I totally butchered that, but it is what it is. We're going to go under on his 77.5 pitches. Here today. Has played Baltimore this season. He only threw 68 pitches in that game. Also in his last 9 starts, is about 3 months or so for him. He's only gone over 2 times, so I'll take that. He's 2 for 9 as far as going over 77.5 pitches. He's also taking on Baltimore today, who is one of the hottest teams in baseball right now. They're on a 7-3 stretch right now in the last 10 games. And in his last 9 starts, the most innings that he has pitched is 6 innings. If you total up his last 9 starts, last 3 months or so, he's only actually averaging 3.5 innings of play time in his last 9 starts. So he's not a guy that throws for very long, and really, he doesn't get anywhere close to that 75 pitch count. Only in 2 times as he went over, and in both games it was 80. So he just barely went over like 3 pitches. So I'm really liking that today, so that's why it's going to be our lock of the day. Give me Yesu Kikchu under 77.5 pitches.
Real quick, if you guys are new to Underdog Fantasy, make sure that you there's a link down in the description I have that automatically takes you to the App Store where you can download Underdog Fantasy. Also throws in my TAKEMYSHOT code when you guys sign up for that. So when you make your first deposit, it helps me out big time, as well as it gives you a 100% deposit match up to $100. So if you throw in $20, for example, you'll get actually $40, and they'll give you another $20 free just to bet on for funsies, a little risk-free bets for fun. And so that is always nice as well to get those risk-free bets. Also helps me out, like I said, big time if you guys use my code TAKEMYSHOT. Because all my picks every single day are always going to be Underdog Fantasy picks. I think it's the best player prop betting app out there. With that being said, now let's get to today's picks.
Next up, we're going to go with Keegan Thompson today. Under 4.5 pitches. He's actually been buffed a little bit since this morning. He was 4.0. Today he's taking on Washington, all right? Washington is the second least struck out team in baseball. I don't know what it is about the Washington team, but they don't really get struck out. We even took Chris Bassett a couple days ago, who was one of the top strikeout guys in the league. He couldn't even get the strikeouts anywhere close to his strikeouts versus Washington. So we're going to do the same thing today with Keegan Thompson. We're going to go under on his 4.5 strikeouts. In 14 starts for Keegan, he's only gone over 6 times, so he's just under the halfway point. And in those 6 times he went over, he played teams that really like to get struck out a lot. 3 times he played Pittsburgh. We all know Pittsburgh is one of the most struck out teams in the league. The second most, if I'm not mistaken. So he struck out Pittsburgh all 3 times, which makes sense, right? Because that's one of the most struck out teams. Then he struck out the Braves, who are like the 3rd most struck out team. And he took on Cincinnati, who's like the 5th most struck out team. So he took on 5 teams right there that are extremely strikeout prone. Then he took on the Dodgers once, where he got like 8 strikeouts. That's the one outlier game out of 6 times over. I'll take that. He's proven he can get a lot of strikeouts versus teams that do strike out a lot, but versus teams that don't strike out a lot, he doesn't get that many strikeouts. So we're gonna go with the numbers here. We're gonna go with Keegan Thompson under 4.5 strikeouts today. All right, next, we were just talking about him, but we're gonna take Chris Bassett over 6.0 strikeouts today. 8 times this year has Chris Bassett gone over 6.0 strikeouts. Today he's gonna be taking on Cincinnati, who is the 5th most struck out team in baseball. And recently, they've been getting struck out like crazy, has the Cincinnati team. They're averaging 10 times being struck out the last 3 games for Cincinnati. In their last matchup, they got struck out 15 times versus Milwaukee. Corbin Burns, who was the #1 strikeout pitcher in the league, absolutely torched them. Chris Bassett is top there, is up the top there, is one of the top strikeout pitchers in the league. He sits at 23rd currently right now, which when you're looking at the whole grand scheme of the league, that's pretty good. He's in that top tier of guys that strikes out a lot. So give me Chris Bassett today versus Cincinnati, who's getting struck out a lot and is also one of the top strikeout teams on the year this year. So give me Chris Bassett over 6.0 strikeouts. All right, next up, we're going to go with Zach Gallen. He's taking on Pittsburgh today. His strikeouts sitting at 6.0. Essentially, Pittsburgh and getting struck out is like Charlotte and taking the over in rebounds for whoever Charlotte's playing. Pittsburgh gets struck out a lot. They're the 3rd most struck out team in baseball. And in 20 games started this year for Zach Gallen, he's averaging 5.3 strikeouts a game. So he's literally right on the verge there. You know, obviously you can't get a 5.3 strikeouts. Either you get 5 or you get 6. He's really sitting there on that verge of being a guy that averages almost 6 strikeouts a game. And he's taking on one of the most struck out teams in the league in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh has also allowed a starting pitcher to get over 6 strikeouts versus them this year 30 times this year. So it's just Pittsburgh statistically strikes out a lot, taking on Zach Gallen, who is one of the better strikeout pitchers in the league. He almost averages what his line is at today. So we are going to go with Zach Gallen today. We're going to give him the benefit of the doubt because he's taking on Pittsburgh. That is 5.3 average will be on the higher end today because he is taking on Pittsburgh. So give me Zach Gallen over 6.0 strikeouts today. And our lone hitter today, we have taken him in the past, is going to be Pete Alonso of the Mets today. In his last 7 games, he is absolutely red hot. He's batting an average right now, 367 in his last 7 games in August. And in July, he was just as hot. He was batting 265 in August. And he's on a 6-game hitting streak right now. He's hit he's on a 6-game streak, hit 8 out of his last 9. And in his last 9 games, he has gone over on his bases 3 out of those 9 games. So he's almost sitting right around halfway, almost half the time he does get 2.5 or over 1.5 bases. Today he's taking on Jacob Dunn, if I'm not mistaken. Give me just a real second. Oh, Justin Dunn. Justin Dunn has not pitched this year once. He's only pitched or hasn't pitched since 2021. His last 3 games that he did pitch were rough. He kind of had a struggling outing in those last couple of games he started in 2021. But as a guy who has shown pretty good starts, but it is his first pitching out of the year. Just got activated this morning. So I'm kind of liking the chances for Pete Alonso to kind of light up Justin Dunn today, who's making his first start of the season. So I'm definitely liking this a lot. For Pete Alonso to go over 1.5 bases today to round out all of our 5 picks today. All right, and that means it's time for a perfect 3 and perfect 5 slip. The perfect 3 slip today is going to be our lock of the day, of course, which was Yasiel Kikuchi under 77.5 pitches. Give me Chris Bassett over 6.0 strikeouts, and then give me Keegan Thompson under 4.5 strikeouts for our perfect 3 slip. And our perfect 5 slip will be those 3 guys, Kikuchi, Thompson, and Bassett, as well as Pete Alonso over 1.5 bases. And then give me Zach Gallen over 6.0 strikeouts to round out today's perfect 5 slip. Finally putting together a winner today. Let's get it. All right, guys, with that being said, it's going to wrap up today's video. Again, trying to do all that I can. Baby's going to be here in about 6 weeks or so, give or take. It's not always going to be exactly as the due date. Supposed to be mid to late September, so last couple of weeks here before baby's here. So I'm just trying to work my butt off right now to try to get everything ready for him. So that's why I've kind of had to push aside YouTube to the side a little bit here. That's kind of what happens when a kid comes along. You got to, change your focuses a little bit. But I'm doing all that I can, guys. I know I have a couple of people that are still sticking with me. I know I've lost a lot of people, but that's just how it goes sometimes, It's not going to always go as I have it planned. So that's how it is sometimes. But thank you for the people that are sticking around, even through baseball. I went, 2 months ago, didn't know maybe 3 or 4 baseball players. Now I could probably name you 2 or 3 players per team. Know a decent amount about baseball now. I'm pretty educated on it. We went from not even knowing how many pitching outs a pitcher could get to, now I'm being able to predict people's strikeouts and people's pitch counts. So with that being said, guys, thank you guys for sticking with me. I will catch you guys next time. Peace.